for more on this story, I'm joined now by our international affairs editor, Philip Turle. Philip, then we heard Zelensky there hoping for support at this conference in London. What kind of support are we talking about exactly?
Right, well, there's already been a development, Angela, this morning on a couple of fronts. The first one is that there are over 1,000 foreign dignitaries from 61 states taking part in this meeting in London. That is including non-governmental organisations and also business leaders and entrepreneurs. In the last few minutes, we've heard that 400 businesses from 38 countries have already agreed to sign up to what is called the Ukraine Business Compact, which is to help Ukraine rebuild the country, basically. And there's been a new framework agreed for war risk insurance as far as investing in Ukraine is concerned. That is an important move because it will overwrite the costs involved in investing in Ukraine if there is a suitable insurance to cover those costs in case of trouble. So those are two of the announcements that have come out of this conference so far this morning. As you said earlier on, Britain has already agreed to donate $3 billion worth of additional guarantees to unlock funding from the World Bank. So it's all moving in the right direction. This is the sixth gathering of the Ukraine Rebuilding Conference. So it started back in 2017, long before the war started. Right. There was no edition in 2020, but this is the sixth one this time round. So it's encouraging private sector investment, boosting Ukraine's own transformation and reform program, and encouraging support by the international community. That's the bottom line about what is going on here. The cost involved in this is absolutely colossal. There is a figure which is being released by the World Bank saying that the total cost of the war over the first year alone, between February 2022 and February 2023, was $411 billion. And an eye-watering figure of $1 trillion, which is what many economists are saying the overall cost of the war could be at the end of the day. Well, it's difficult to know how even to work out such an eye-watering sum when you see the devastation in places like Mariupol and also in Bakhmut. But that underlines the necessity of these investors to come into the country to help it be rebuilt.
Now, you said, there's a massive amount of money that's needed to try to rebuild Ukraine and that there will be promises. Will they be honoured afterwards?
Well, that's the big question. Of course, all this hinges on when the war is going to end, because there's no point investing large sums of money, vast amounts, into a country that is at war. And for the moment, that counteroffensive, as you were saying earlier on, is moving forward, but very slowly. There's not really been any progress in the last few hours as far as Ukraine's advances are concerned. There's many worries about the fact that they won't be able to break through these lines that Russia has set up. So it all depends on how fast the war is over, whether there's going to be some kind of peace agreement, and then the rebuilding can start. But it's going to concern many different sectors, starting with the IT sector, because there have been a lot of people involved in the war who are now experts in war IT, so they could be used to use their knowledge in other countries around the world. There'll be a big boost to transform Ukraine into green energy, to move it away from using coal, particularly for electricity generating. A big clamp down on the corruption rate in Ukraine. Ukraine has said it's going to do its utmost to try to stamp out as much corruption as possible. And of course, another important aspect of this conference is, well, how much money is going to be coming from Russia? How much is Russia going to contribute? Obviously, Russia will refuse to contribute anything, but there are means to obtain Russian money, assets which have been frozen since the world financial crisis of 2008. Even Britain has said it could hand over £1 billion worth of Russian money in frozen assets in oligarchs' homes in central London, some of these plum addresses that they own that have been frozen. They could be sold off and that money used to help bail out Ukraine. So all of these are being discussed at this conference. So quite a lot on the agenda over the next couple of days. We'll have to see exactly what they work out. But the big question is, even if they do reach agreements, how soon these agreements are going to be implemented.
OK, well, thanks very much for that. Philip Turle there, our international affairs editor.